Welcome back to part 2 of our 3-part documentary series exploring the most astonishing records from the ancient world, feats of creativity, innovation, and resilience that continue to amaze us today. This is episode 2, Empires and Engineering. Titans of the ancient world. In this episode, we shift from the inventions and firsts that built civilization to the towering achievements that displayed its might. From the rise of mighty empires to architectural marvels and the brutal brilliance of ancient warfare, these are not just records, they're legacies of ambition. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. Later in this episode, we'll uncover a single battle that claimed over 50,000 lives in one day. Let's explore 10 incredible records that prove ancient power wasn't just about size, it was about innovation, persistence, and vision. Largest ancient empire, by land, Achaemenid Persia. At its height around 500 BCE, the Achaemenid Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great, stretched over an astonishing 5.5 million square kilometers. That's nearly the size of the entire modern-day European Union. Spanning from the Indus Valley in the east to the Balkans and Libya in the west, the empire united more than 40% of the world's population under a single political entity, the highest percentage ever recorded in ancient history. The empire lasted over 2 centuries, from 550 to 330 BCE, before falling to Alexander the Great. But the real marvel wasn't just its size, it was how it was governed. The Persians introduced an unprecedented administrative system, dividing the empire into satrapies, or provinces, each overseen by a governor who reported to the king. They built a vast highway system, including the Royal Road, which allowed messengers and troops to travel over 1,600 miles in a matter of days. What's more, the Achaemenid rulers practiced a remarkable degree of tolerance for the time. They allowed local customs, religions, and languages to flourish. Cyrus's famous cylinder, often considered the first declaration of human rights, proclaimed freedom for enslaved peoples and respect for religious diversity. This empire wasn't held together by brute force alone. It was supported by infrastructure, diplomacy, and a grand vision of unity. The Achaemenid Persian Empire remains a towering example of ancient multiculturalism and effective governance on a global scale. Longest continuous empire, Byzantine Empire, 330 to 1453 CE. Spanning more than 11 centuries, the Byzantine Empire holds the record as the longest continuous empire in recorded history. From the founding of Constantinople by Emperor Constantine II in 330 CE to its dramatic fall to the Ottomans in 1453, the Byzantine Empire was a direct continuation of the Roman Empire in the East, preserving its laws, language, and traditions even as the Western Roman Empire crumbled. What makes the Byzantine story remarkable is not just its longevity, but its adaptability. Over the course of 1,123 years, it faced devastating invasions, internal civil wars, economic collapses, and religious upheaval. And yet, it endured, transforming from a Roman dominion into a distinctly Eastern Orthodox Christian civilization, blending Greco-Roman law with new theological and artistic traditions. The Byzantines gave us timeless contributions, the preservation of ancient Greek and Roman texts, the Hagia Sophia's architectural brilliance, and a legal code that would inspire European law for centuries. Their capital, Constantinople, stood as the wealthiest and most heavily fortified city in the medieval world. It wasn't just survival, it was reinvention. The Byzantine Empire was a masterclass in political resilience, cultural continuity, and imperial evolution. Its legacy still echoes through modern religion, law, and identity across both Europe and the Middle East. Tallest ancient structure, Great Pyramid of Giza. For nearly 4,000 years, no man-made structure on Earth reached higher than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Completed around 25 and 60 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, this colossal monument originally stood at a towering 146.6 meters, 481 feet. Even today, stripped of its smooth white limestone casing and slightly reduced in height by erosion, it remains one of the most awe-inspiring feats of engineering in human history. Constructed with over 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons, The pyramid's precise alignment with the cardinal points and the near-perfect symmetry of its base reflect a level of planning and craftsmanship that continues to puzzle archaeologists and engineers. How these massive stones were quarried, transported, and placed with such accuracy remains a subject of scholarly debate and fascination. The Great Pyramid was not just a tomb, it was a symbol. It represented divine authority, cosmic order, and the absolute power of the pharaoh. Built to honor the gods and ensure Khufu's journey into the afterlife, it stood as the centerpiece of a grand necropolis. It's not just the tallest ancient structure. It's the most enduring skyscraper the world has ever known, standing as a bridge between humanity's early ambitions and the towering achievements we continue to pursue today. Heaviest object. Moved by humans. Baalbek megaliths of the ancient city of Baalbek, Lebanon, lies one of the most confounding engineering records of antiquity. The heaviest objects ever moved by human hands. At the heart of the Roman-era Temple of Jupiter lies a podium made of enormous limestone blocks, each weighing up to 800 tons. But nearby, in the quarry just outside the site, lies an even greater marvel, the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a partially buried megalith estimated to weigh more than 1,000 tons. No modern machinery was used. These stones were carved, transported, and positioned using the tools and technology of the 1st century CE, or possibly earlier. How they were moved remains a mystery. Some scholars suggest a combination of rollers, ropes, and earth ramps. Others believe the stones may never have been fully relocated at all. What's certain is that the sheer ambition of the project speaks volumes about the symbolic importance of scale. The Romans, possibly building atop even older foundations, weren't just creating temples. They were proclaiming dominance over nature, time, and physics. The Baalbek megaliths challenge our assumptions about ancient capabilities. These stones stand not only as the heaviest ever intended for construction, but as weighty reminders of how far human determination can go, even when the world says, that's impossible. Longest siege, Siege of Tyre, 13 years. In the 6th century BCE, the island city of Tyre became the focal point of one of the longest and most grueling sieges in recorded history. For 13 relentless years, King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon attempted to conquer Tyre, a wealthy and strategically vital Phoenician port. The city was partially located on an island just off the coast, heavily fortified and supplied by sea, making it nearly impossible to breach using traditional siege tactics. Nebuchadnezzar's army constructed causeways, deployed battering rams, and launched repeated assaults, but Tyre refused to fall. The siege was a test of not only military endurance, but also of engineering and logistics. Babylonian troops had to maintain supply lines, rotate forces, and persist in their efforts year after year. Eventually, the city was weakened through attrition and forced to surrender. Its inhabitants were likely deported or relocated, marking a quiet end to one of the most tenacious resistances in antiquity. While Alexander the Great's more famous 7-month siege of Tyre in 332 BCE is often remembered for its brutality and innovation, it was Nebuchadnezzar's prolonged campaign that set the record. 13 years of struggle to conquer a single city is nearly unimaginable today. It stands as a testament to the importance of Tyre, the determination of empires, and the lengths to which ancient rulers would go to control the gateways of trade and influence. Deadliest battle, Battle of Cannae, 216 BCE. In the heat of the Second Punic War, on August 2, 216 BCE, the Carthaginian general Hannibal executed one of the most devastating tactical maneuvers in military history. The Battle of Cannae wasn't just a loss for Rome, it was a slaughter. Outnumbered nearly 2 to 1, Hannibal surrounded a much larger Roman force using a brilliant double envelopment tactic. By the end of the day, an estimated 50,000 to 70,000 Roman soldiers were dead. The battle took place in southern Italy, where Roman consuls had amassed a massive army of around 80,000 men, determined to crush Hannibal after his earlier victories at Trebia and Lake Trasimene. But Hannibal anticipated their aggression. He baited the Romans into overextending their lines, then collapsed his flanks inward, encircling them completely. It was more than a battlefield victory, it was psychological warfare. The scale of the defeat sent shockwaves through Rome. Entire legions had been wiped out, and Roman morale plummeted. For years after, The phrase Cannae haunted the Roman psyche, symbolizing the worst possible outcome in war. Yet Rome endured. After the battle, they shifted their military strategies, avoided direct confrontation, and wore Hannibal down through attrition. Cannae is remembered today not only for its unmatched bloodshed, but for its influence on military strategy. Generals from Napoleon to Schlieffen to Norman Schwarzkopf studied its tactics. It stands as a grim reminder of how precision, planning, and boldness can overturn overwhelming odds and change the course of history in a single day. Largest ancient army, Xerxes' invasion force, 480 BCE. In 480 BCE, Persian king Xerxes I had launched one of the most ambitious military campaigns in ancient history, a full-scale invasion of Greece. To do it, he assembled what is believed to be the largest army the ancient world had ever seen. Herodotus, the Greek historian, famously estimated the size at over 2 million men, though modern historians suggest a more conservative, yet still staggering figure of 200,000 to 300,000 troops. Regardless of the exact number, the scale of Xerxes' forces was unprecedented. The logistical challenges alone are almost unimaginable: feeding, sheltering, and moving this vast force across mountains, rivers, and into hostile territory. The army included soldiers from across the empire's vast territories: Persians, Medes, Egyptians, Babylonians, Indians, and more, creating a massive, multi-ethnic fighting force that demonstrated the sheer reach of the Achaemenid Empire. To support the invasion, Xerxes famously ordered the construction of a mile-long pontoon bridge across the Hellespont and dug a canal across the Mount Athos Peninsula to allow his navy safe passage, both feats of military engineering. The invasion culminated in legendary clashes like the Battle of Thermopylae and the naval Battle of Salamis. Though ultimately unsuccessful in conquering Greece, the sheer size of Xerxes' army remains a record unmatched in the ancient world. It was a display of imperial ambition on a continental scale, where numbers alone were used to project unstoppable force. Largest ancient statues: Colossus of Rhodes and the Great Sphinx. Two of the ancient world's most iconic and monumental statues, one lost to time, the other still standing, hold the record for the largest ancient statues ever constructed. The Great Sphinx of Giza, carved around 2500 BCE, stretches 73 meters, 240 feet long, and stands 20 meters, 66 feet high. With the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh, likely Khafra, it remains the oldest and largest monolithic statue on Earth. Carved from a single limestone ridge, its scale and mystery have captivated humanity for millennia. Over 2,000 years later, on the Greek island of Rhodes, artisans constructed a towering marvel to rival the Sphinx. The Colossus of Rhodes, completed in 280 BCE, stood over 30 meters, 100 feet tall, and represented the sun god Helios. Built to commemorate a military victory over invaders, the statue became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Though it stood for only about 56 years before being toppled by an earthquake, its legend has endured. These statues weren't just displays of craftsmanship, they were declarations of cultural identity, spiritual symbolism, and engineering mastery. Whether standing sentinel in the desert or greeting ships in a harbor, they embodied the imagination and ambition of their civilizations. And while the Colossus is gone, the Great Sphinx continues to watch over the sands of Egypt, its face weathered but resolute, a true titan of stone. Oldest still in use bridge, Caravan Bridge, c. 850 BCE. Near the city of Izmir, Turkey, a modest stone bridge stretches across the Melis River. At first glance, the Caravan Bridge might not seem extraordinary, but it holds a remarkable title: the oldest bridge in the world still in continuous use. Built around 850 BCE, this unassuming structure has stood the test of time, weathering floods, wars, empires, and the rise and fall of civilizations. Originally constructed by the ancient Greeks, and later restored and used by Romans, Byzantines, Seljuks, and Ottomans, the bridge served as a key crossing point along trade routes for nearly 3 millennia. The poet Homer is even said to have been born nearby, with ancient travelers and merchants passing over this bridge as they made their way through the cradle of classical civilization. What makes the Caravan Bridge so astounding is not just its age, but its durability and ongoing relevance. It still accommodates pedestrians today, more than 2,800 years after its construction. Its survival underscores the importance of infrastructure in binding societies together, and how well-built functional design can transcend centuries. In a world where bridges are often replaced in mere decades, the Caravan Bridge is a living monument to ancient engineering. It connects more than just two riverbanks, it connects us directly to the past. Oldest temple in continuous use, Temple of Amada, centers 1500 BCE. In the golden sands of southern Egypt stands the Temple of Amada, a sacred structure with a staggering legacy. Built around 1500 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III, this temple holds the distinction of being the oldest surviving temple in Egypt, and remarkably, it is still in use today. Originally dedicated to the gods Amun and Ra-Horakhti, the Temple of Amada was not only a religious site, but also a canvas for history. Successive pharaohs left their mark on its sandstone walls, including Amenhotep II and Thutmose IV. Its well-preserved reliefs tell vivid stories of religious rituals, royal conquests, and divine offerings. Despite invasions, neglect, and even the threat of being submerged beneath Lake Nasser, the temple endured. In the 1960s, it was carefully dismantled and relocated to higher ground as part of the UNESCO Nubian Monuments campaign, preserving its legacy for future generations. What makes the Temple of Amada truly exceptional isn't just its age or artwork, it's its continuous function. Even today, the temple is revered as a sacred place, linking modern Egyptians to their ancient heritage. It is a living monument, bearing silent witness to over 3,500 years of faith, resilience, and reverence. The stones of Amada have not only survived time, they've sanctified it. These weren't just buildings or battles, they were statements of power, endurance, and belief. From crushing armies to monuments carved in stone, these records are lasting symbols of ambition that echo to this day. Enjoying the series? Episode 3 will uncover ancient mysteries, spiritual wonders, and legacies that still leave scientists baffled. Like, subscribe, and share to stay on this journey through time. And if you'd like to help us keep exploring, consider leaving a super thanks to support the channel. History lives on because we keep telling its story. Let's keep digging together.